Hi, Chris, and welcome to our new members. I'm Ed, in case anybody else is watching this doesn't know me yet. So I'm Vice President of Hundo. This is Chris, our President.
Yep.
And
I'm 100% disabled United States veteran, and we're president of the Hundo Club. And Mr. Finch has 40 years of business experience in coaching. So, and I have much less than that, but I know my way around business. So,
you certainly do. You certainly do. And I'm going to say just for the record, just because what we want to do here is just keep this informal and just keep it. Um, One of our rules, Chris and I talked about this a lot, is Chatham House rules. So everything that we talk about in here in Hondo stays in Hondo unless anybody wants otherwise. So it's strictly, just talk freely. Just be yourself and share everything because we want people sharing honestly, openly, getting to know us, getting to know each other, having a good time, getting as much value out of this as possible. And we're going to talk a bit about what we've got on offer, what our future plans are, and what Hondo's about, and uh, just give you a taste of what's to come. Do you want to start us off, Chris?
yeah. Are you hearing background noise or right now, or
Yeah, a little bit. Nothing,
a little
nothing,
bit?
nothing to disturb us.
Okay.
So,
All right. So, the first thing is that we created a social platform. First, I'm a VA coach and a VA claims coach. So that's where I give my experience from handling VA claims myself. I've done plenty of claims where they're 100% disabled veterans, where I've guided them on each case and claim. So we want to create a community that's strictly for veterans in the United States and go from there and see how the community wants to react to what programs they want, what kind of future launches do they want, that kind of thing. So if they're looking for a way to network with each other on a more sophisticated level, we're going to provide that. We're going to look to that. So whatever they suggest, it's really taken into mindset in part here. So um, let's see what we've completed recently. Some tasks. We've created the framing for the calendar system. We've created the framing for um, uh, uh, a network that allows people to post intellectual things about teaching next veterans about next products, such as a blog system where it's self-regulating. We have a forum system. We have a group system where you can be allocated, and as you go through the system, you gain in rank, and as you gain in rank, you gain in responsibility, so that you'll be more tasked out with certain things, such as, hey, you can make groups now, and it's really a fantastic design, and we're really trying to do something that I don't think even exists on the market that I've seen. Am I right on that?
absolutely, absolutely. I think one of the crucial things is we both absolutely. I'm not a veteran, and I'm upfront about that. Um, but I've run social enterprises most of my working life, and I totally believe in what we're doing. And I came from this standpoint of where we both feel the same thing. People join the armed forces and they join to serve their country, and they join usually young, and the object of the armed forces is to break people and mold them into excellent soldiers. And then there's some preparation for when they leave and become veterans, but nowhere near enough. Nowhere near enough. And coming out of military service into civilian life is a massive challenge in its own right because of all the things that you've been used to and the strict structures and camaraderie and everything like that. So that's one of the things we wanted to address. And also the fact that a lot of veterans are coming out with disabilities, mental, physical, not all are entitled to their benefits, which where you
Yeah,
specialize.
there's plenty of cases where literally the Veteran Affairs just gives 10%, says, hey, are they going to go away? I
Yeah,
literally I just got off the phone maybe an hour ago with a gentleman, and he's got an easy claim. I would say easily just physical claim with 60% disability, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
just physical, and they gave him
yeah,
10%. And I was like, guys, this is an easy case, just physical, without even
yeah,
me looking at the evidence, just based on your story. I could say I can give you a
yeah,
60% rating on that. That's no problem.
yeah,
So these
yeah,
these are these are some of the issues we're trying to address. And exactly, and like
yeah,
you were saying,
yeah. Yeah, and our sort of long-term objective with all this, just so people get the context of where we're going with this, we want to change something that is centuries old. That's a big, bold claim, but it's centuries old that people join the armed forces and they come out of armed forces and they've served in the military and then they're basically dumped into society and fend for themselves. And we want to change that. We take the attitude of, in the US in particular, veterans are highly respected, but they can be respected way more because they have a huge amount of skills and knowledge and experience, and they can be of huge value within society. But the way that the established system, not intentionally by any means, the way the established system is set up is that they're coming out and they're having to fend for themselves and find their own way. And some do, and some don't. Some fall off and become homeless, and that should never be happening in this day and age. But the majority, for our perception, are ending up in jobs and tasks and things that are way below their capabilities. We want to give people back their pride, give them back their life, give them a new mission. That's a big part of what we're doing here, giving them a new mission. So everything we're building is to rebuild people, rebuild them, give you the skills, give you a forum where you can talk to each other, share support. Hondo is essentially what we're building is we're building this massive, massive network eventually where veterans support veterans and other experts like myself come in, provide services because we believe in helping veterans. We believe in where they can be and the future and rebuilding people and giving them a new, better role within society than currently happens. That's the crux of where
literally
we're
like,
going.
right before this meeting, a gentleman from Texas, he just messaged me on Facebook. He's like, hey, if you know any veterans that are looking for housing that they can pay to own, I can do that through
Mm,
the VA claim process. These are the kind of people that we want to bring into the network, and that's why it's so vital
yeah,
to have these community program,
yeah,
this weekly
yeah,
community update, just so we can
yeah, yeah.
say, okay, do you guys like this idea? This is like the most democratic program that's ever going to exist. Like on
Yes,
top of, I mean, I've never heard of a business being run by its constituents. I've never heard of it. So
exactly.
this is
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
and this is something
yeah.
not even non-for-profits do. This is not
No,
even this is
exactly.
gonna break sound barriers in concept, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
literally so. What was some awesome program we just launched? The affiliate program, right?
yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
right.
That's
So
our idea to get because we started from this standpoint of we've got members and the members are going to get a phenomenal experience once they get into finding out all the things we've got on offer. We know they'll know other veterans. So we thought rather than just asking to bring other veterans in, we want to reward them, reward you for bringing other people in. So it's all part of our scaling up because we're very good at business and it's using business skills, but in a different way. It's a hybrid between a business and a non-profit, essentially what we've built. But it's completely different from both of those in many respects as well,
well, I
because
guess
it's
it's
run by the
it's
members.
it's ecologically friendly, environmentally friendly
Yeah,
type product
yeah,
nowadays. We're not just
yeah,
running the
yeah,
Ford F-150 down the road with a V8
yeah.
engine.
No,
We
no,
got a
yeah.
hybrid version.
We're only midway through February. We've got what 70, 71 members, I think, off the checklist, something
Give
like
or
that.
take. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And we've got people already asking us if these are expert people asking us if they can be a member. we've got people wanting to come in and provide services to veterans. That's already we're not even 2 weeks into this, into not even 2 weeks into our launch. We've got high quality people just saying, "Can I come in and service and provide services to veterans?" When this
Yeah,
gets bigger, we're going to be we're going to be hand picking the very very best people to come in, and we have got these criteria. If somebody wants to come in and serve veterans, they've either got to be a veteran and comply with our codes of conduct and everything else, or they've got to be a proper business service that's going to meet the needs of veterans, and they've got to show that they're going to do that. They're going to show that they are there with the right intentions. Otherwise, we're not going to foster the wrong providers on veterans. They've got to make certain they over deliver and they come in with the right
right,
attitude and they come in.
right. So there's no micromanagement. Micromanagement is
No,
terrible. Yeah,
uh,
if it can be macromanaged, that's the greatest thing, and they can just do their own
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
I
exactly.
think
We
that's a
want
great.
that. Yeah.
Right. I mean, nobody likes to be micromanaged. I don't like to be
Uh,
told when to eat my breakfast. I don't know. I, I like to eat my breakfast when I eat my breakfast. Okay.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, which
So
links neatly onto, for me, probably into the groups that we've created. We've made a start with groups. We've put together some groups where our members can join, and they're themed around things that we know from a starting point people are going to be interested in. Some of them will be a bit unexpected, and like, what's this about? When you get into them and you see what they're about, you can see that there's a theme that follow. But what we really want is we want our veterans, our members, to take over those groups and start running them. We don't want to have to be running groups. The whole idea is our members start to run those groups and talking and engaging and giving
self-educated,
it life.
self.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly. So the most important thing I've ever heard was self-development is the most important thing to do anything. You go to universities,
yeah,
you can learn the Carnegie system of education based on factory
yeah,
work. You can learn all these different
yeah,
aspects, right? You can go to
yeah, yeah.
university and Harvard and everything else. But yet, at the end of the day, all the billionaires dropped out of
Mm,
high school. Bill Gates,
yep,
Warren Buffett,
yeah,
Mark,
yeah,
what's his name? The SpaceX man,
yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Musk. Mr.
Um,
Musk,
yeah,
all of,
Elon Musk. Yeah,
thank
yeah,
you, thank Mr. Elon Musk. All these individuals, they created something that doesn't exist, right? They created a
yeah,
product that doesn't exist, and that's what we're trying to do. We're creating a product
mm,
that doesn't exist. It's fixing a problem in society, and
yeah,
it really doesn't exist because I'd be using it today. I
yeah,
that's how I know because I'm a veteran and I'm looking for a solution to my problems, but it doesn't
mm,
exist. So what me and Mr. Finch did was create the solution from the ground up. We literally built this entire thing from the ground up. Every single word is handpicked. It's
yes,
not it's fine combed over and over. It's polished and polished and polished some more. When we're done polishing, guess what? Us
mm,
military do to our boots. We polish it again. So we're not done with even when
absolutely.
we right. So we
Yeah,
don't finish polishing a product until we think there is absolutely nothing else we can add to it. And then we
and
move on to the next piece.
that's going to take a long time because we've got big plans. But
Right.
yeah,
You
we
want to
want
share a
we want
little
to.
bit of it? You want to
Well, I'm
share a
going to say
little?
first of all, this the beta is just our first testing ground to make sure that we've got something that is working enough and the members are engaged, and we want people to feel happy and comfortable with that, and then we launch bigger for the veterans, US veterans. So yeah, our criteria are US veterans, and by that we don't mean they've got to be living in the US. We mean they've got to have served in the US military, in any of the military services in the US. Got to have served there, become a veteran member. They can be living anywhere in the world. Yeah, when we've built that to a big enough scale, and we're totally satisfied that it's meeting needs, and we've got a ton of stuff that we want to do for veterans, and when that's solid enough, then we'll move to phase two. And we've got various phases planned. And the second phase, likely at the moment, our thinking is second phase, vital one, is going to be active duty. So we've got in mind a version of Hundo, which is for active duty, where the active duty military personnel can keep in touch with each other, camaraderie, contact with each other as they get posted around the world. That's just part of it. That's all free. It's all free for the active duty ones. That's our plan. But the big, really important part of that is automatic transfer to the Hondo veteran when they become a veteran. And well before that, we'd like our veteran members to record video, audio, PDFs, whatever they like, but their quality advice for active duty, the things they wish they knew when they were on active duty and before they became a veteran. What's the biggest lessons learned? So we want to collate a ton of that and just give it to active duty because they're not getting the kind of juicy information that veterans have got and the knowledge and the experience and the crikey, if I knew that beforehand, that kind of stuff is so, so important. That's going to make a massive difference. And secondly, when they come out on the first days of being a veteran, yeah, they get some initial support. They're going to enter into a whole community, a big established community with Hondo, where they've got instantly into a network of support for other veterans. Veterans helping veterans. That's a core part of this. Yeah, we've got other things in the future we want to do. We're going to expand into other countries. We're going to expand into uh, the partners and close family members of active duty and veterans. We've got those in our longer term future plans, but this is all about building a very solid base foundation. And we want to basically, all the service providers for veterans that are out there now, we want to blow that out of the water. We want to blow that out of the water, not just doing away with them, but actually bringing those services into some. Our vision is something that is so big that it's never existed, and that's where we want to get to. And we need all our members behind that. Let's just change the whole landscape of for veterans. Let's change everything.
I mean, you pointed out something very important. It's been 200 and something years, 250 years, the American, 243 years, if I check my math right, that the United States has had an active military force. It's taken
Yeah,
243 years for gentlemen to say, okay, enough of this problem. We're going to fix this. And
yeah,
because when you come dealing with a government employee, I'm not saying these individuals aren't trying their best. They're doing
oh, they
fantastic
are.
jobs.
Yeah,
Guess what?
yeah,
Their job is done, they're over.
yeah,
When our job
mm,
is done, we just started. That's the big difference. So
yeah,
they go home and that's it. We go home and then we're
yeah,
checking your emails to make sure you're okay. You're checked out.
yeah,
You're we go beyond the call of duty.
yeah,
When you're dealing with a veteran service officer or a government funded individual, they're going to give you
mm,
the bare required minimum. They're not going to
mm,
give you something that gives you value beyond anything you've ever seen, such as
yeah,
dealing with me, right?
mm,
As a partner,
yeah,
you're gonna give 150%, not 110,
yeah,
not 90, not 80. You're giving 150% of yourself, and I
yeah,
could see that, and that's what
yeah,
we try to push towards veterans as well as
mm,
and again, of course, we're dealing with individuals with disabilities. I'm 100% disabled
yeah,
American veteran. I
yeah,
understand what is my
yeah,
limitations. Okay, I got to check out today. I can't do this.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so
That,
there's also a flexibility that we understand on the ground.
yeah,
There's so much to this, and that vision aspect is huge. It's
mm,
tremendous.
mm, mm,
That you just pointed out. It's the locking key that is going to be the difference and the transitional
yeah,
point. And I was a service member. I know hands down that I did not get any transitional assistance. It was a check on the block. I went check, check, check,
mhm,
check. Okay, that was a game over.
yeah,
I got on the plane, I landed off the plane, and there I was. I got picked
yeah,
up from a family member, and okay, what are you going to do?
mm,
Well,
mm,
I don't know, but see, that's what we're going to change. We're going to change that transitional point, not
totally,
including all the individuals that are veterans now. So
mm,
it's a
mm,
whole
absolutely,
full spectrum warfare in a way we're looking at it.
yeah, yeah,
It's not just a 1 day group change. This is an
no,
entire system change, and
yeah. It takes time, and it takes time, and yes. we are, like you said, there's going to be a lot of veterans with some various forms of disabilities, and we're very empathetic to that. But our strategy, we behind all of this is a very clear, very, very strong, solid business strategy. We've got a we've got things that people will look and they'll say, "Oh, that's a nice idea," like the rank system. Well, it's not just a nice idea; it's a solid business idea. We're creating our officers, our soldiers, and we're doing that because you and I can't do it all. By no means, you and I can't do it all, and we don't want to. We want other members taking on roles. We don't want just people just taking on roles. We want to reward them for taking on roles. We give them status. We give you roles and responsibilities of your choice. So we give you status for that. You take on these roles,
Amen.
and that's how we build this whole massive army that we're building. Is
And
because we're going to have all these people,
it's
skilled
brilliant.
veterans helping veterans.
It's quite brilliant. So, would you say the average age was 24 years old that
Yeah,
a member
yeah,
from the United States? Again, we're not focusing on
yeah, yeah,
NATO. We're not focusing on
yeah, mm,
Great Britain,
yeah.
France, or any of the other NATO
No, no,
countries yet.
yeah,
Strictly United
yeah,
States veterans.
yeah,
That's our main focus
yeah.
until this is 100% correct. But you did say what,
Absolutely.
24 years old is the
Yeah,
average
about
age?
24. Yeah, yeah.
Right. How
They're
many?
up to the age of 45, as about the oldest that they come out on average. Yeah.
It was still is actually quite young.
It's very young. Yeah. I mean, I'm saying
So
that, but for spending a long time in the military, getting highly trained, highly skilled, doing a very, very specialist jobs, and then coming out into society, which you've been insulated from to a large degree. And it's a totally different environment. It's totally alien environment in many ways. And you're expected to fend for yourself. It's
it's literally that's a great point. I think it's a metaphor or analogy I'm gonna give right here is an inmate is locked in prison for 20 years, right?
yeah,
He comes out
yeah,
and he becomes unable to function in society. Even a 5 year
yeah,
binge, he's
yeah,
unable to function in society. He doesn't know the differences. He
mm,
doesn't know he's
yeah,
these rules and regulations are completely different. The style,
yeah,
the
yeah,
way you greet the person during the day, all these habits worrying
yeah,
about food 3 times a day again, all these other
yeah,
things, you
yeah,
name it. You literally
yeah,
go from a prisoner's mindset where you're locked in a
mm,
cubicle doing what you're told every day. Not to say
yeah,
these are prisoners. No, these are the people that
no,
deserve the most from society. Absolutely.
yeah,
That's why we want to
yeah,
do this. But
yeah,
it's the same mentality when you're coming out.
mm,
When you're
yeah,
coming out, you have this, how do I function? I can't function,
mm,
especially somebody who's been in for 20 years. Thank God they
yeah,
got a pension, otherwise they would be completely lost. Um,
exactly. Yeah.
you know,
I know the prison difficulties because I was telling you before, I've worked with an open prison and I went in off my own back. I got some grant funding to work with prisoners because I knew that when they come out, the chances of them getting a paid job, paid employment, were far less than the chances of them being self-employed. A lot will reoffend. So a simple solution to that, stop the reoffending and stop the necessity for that. An awful lot of them, unlike the military, an awful lot of prisoners can't read or write. An awful lot of them. And the prison service solution to that is sit them down, give them some basic reading, writing, and then for preparing them for coming out back into society, make them write a business plan, for Christ's sake. How ridiculous is that? But I spent a long time going in, meeting them, sitting down with them, meeting people for the very first time, sitting down and working out what they would do self-employed. And they'd come to me with crazy ideas. And by the time I spent an hour with them, they'd go out with a solid, they knew exactly what they can do that's realistic, and they could spend the rest of the time building it. But they were telling me stuff like they, all their meals are provided, the food's provided, the clothing's provided, the accommodation's provided, but they've got a set routine. Yes, they can learn skills, but silly things to other people like they come out and they're expecting somebody to tell them when they can switch the light off or when they can switch the light on.
That's the same
And
exact, believe
it's
it or not, that
so
is the same.
ingrained. Yeah, yeah,
It's the same exact thing in the military. And
yeah,
that is
yeah,
something that's a PowerPoint for us. It's literally the
yeah,
PowerPoint is that that transition, we're going to start it way before the military
exactly.
ever starts it. And it's free.
Yeah,
It's absolutely
yeah,
free. So by the time
yeah,
you're getting a warm handoff from the military
yeah,
into the veteran
yeah,
Hundo Club. And that's the
yeah,
big difference. That is something that's transformative in the system.
totally,
And and
totally.
you're a gentleman with 40 years of coaching experience
Yeah,
and
yeah,
highly educated.
yeah.
And I'm an individual who's going to try to help those individuals if they have disabilities by giving them free VA claims coaching. We have
Uh,
VSO systems. Veteran service officers can register. Law firms can register.
mm,
Eventually, we want housing, therapies. We want all these other programs and veteran run
mm.
programs to be part of the Hundo. Um, it's
Right,
really amazing.
I'm gonna disagree with you on something there for a moment. You know, we
Yeah.
rarely do this. You're not just a person who knows the benefit system. You are very good at business. You're very good at business, and that's why one of the reasons we get on so well. We understand each other, and we work. We support each other, and we bring each other along. So we buddy, just like we're doing with the Hondo. You've got a lot of business knowledge as well. You know, we're from different backgrounds, and that's fine. That's exactly what we want here. But we brainstorm ideas, and we say, well, this is what we want to do. And we talked about one of the big things for active duty, big topic, is they're not prepared with finances, for example. That's a huge one. How to manage your own money, how to you know, do your daily expenses, income expenditure, and if you want to run a business or if you want to work, get a job, we will be helping with that as well. And how you financial knowledge and basic things like that, which we take for granted, are not being taught to young people when they're in service. They're not. A lot of them are not taught how to cook or how to take care of daily everyday things that civilians are used to. All these things, we want to pick the best of those, most appropriate ones, and provide that, make that available to active duty when we get to that stage. And that's going to come from our members. Our members are going to choose and say, yeah, they're just going to pile so much information in, and they're going to have the chance to say, okay, we've narrowed this down. These are the choicest bits. We know we've got some people with huge amounts of knowledge and experience here. We'll take the choicest bits, and then we're going to put that free to active duty. So that, as you say, by the time they come out, they're so well prepared, and they're going to get things that have never been dreamt of being provided to active
I
duty to prepare
I
them for. And it can
I
happen, as I say, just very briefly, it's going to happen at any stage because they can either decide when they want to leave, or there can be mental or physical injuries that suddenly decide that their career of active duty is over, and then suddenly it's bang into civilian life, and they need that preparation. They need that.
Amen. I mean,
We're going to be there.
so yes, I think this is our first community meeting, so I think this is
Yeah,
fantastic during our beta test that
yeah,
we can bring in the whole community and aspects. So
yeah,
um,
yeah.
so one of the major things that we're working on, besides this huge vision, this is just
Mm,
again, this is one segment of our vision. We're going to take
yeah,
it one time at a time. There's a lot more to it. Like you said, there's the family support network. There's the
huge
NATO
amount.
support. It's just huge.
Yeah,
This thing is very big. It's not a very small
yeah,
project. And
yeah, yeah,
there's another layer on top of that, but we're going to keep that under wraps and completely secret at the
yeah,
moment.
yeah, yeah,
That's ready when everything's good to go.
yeah.
So just to keep you on track with this one, we have a new product that we're working on is a something that no other organization I've ever heard of is
Mm,
a social networking platform where It's only for certain individuals, such as ourselves and the veterans in the United States of America. If I'm traveling with a family member, we will research for you, having the on-the-minute programs of a new system that allows us to see exactly where you're traveling and what kind of crime rates are going on, what exactly
Mm,
statistics, what is the issue in the area, is there any terrorism law, is there
mm,
anything you need to know? Like say, for example, I lived in Holland for 6 years. There was terrorist activities in Holland
mm,
and Paris and all over the world. So
yeah.
imagine saying, "Hey, Hundo, I'm traveling with my family over here. What's going on in that area? I know what
Mm,
to look for. I know which areas to stay out of. I know what's
yeah.
going on." This service is absolutely going to be mind-boggling
Mm,
to add to the veteran network. We're going to be launching this and doing an alpha test soon. We're going to test it
yeah.
internal to make sure it's okay. And
Yeah.
as an
Uh,
individual says that, I think is that what I don't even know what we wanted to call this program. I think it was
I don't either. Yeah,
Operation
we're
Cognito. I think it was.
toying with ideas. I think the important thing is what we because we've put so much work into developing this before we got to the beta. We've got our network of contacts. We've got because our network is so big, we've got access to resources that most people haven't got access to. We've just been fortunate with our contacts. We've got that. The crucial part of why we feel this is so important is we want to keep our members safe. And like any military person wants to know, if I'm going somewhere new, they want to do their intel, but we can provide that service. We can provide the intel. We can tell you, we can find out as much as we can to make sure you know what the lay of the land is. You get as much preparation, 90% preparation, on 10% mission. You're going somewhere, let us help you with background intel, the preparation, and we can do that. We're keeping them safe. And yeah, this is it's massive. We work on name for it at some stage, but yeah,
Yeah, I don't even know what
there,
it is.
definitely.
Operation Counter Strike. I don't even know yet.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think there's also the news attachment to it. So as segments come out,
mm,
we're have a live news articles. For example, I
yeah,
go on the Facebook, right? And
mm,
I'm quite bored. It's just scrolling.
yeah,
I get to see the people's history. I get to see a few ads. Of course, that's normal.
yeah,
The
yeah,
Facebook's got to make money. That's totally fine. But
yeah,
there's really nothing that says, okay, I want to pause. I want to stay over here. I want to read
mm,
a news article based on
yeah,
that what's going on right in that area or
yeah, yeah,
something.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's a really a live feature we're trying to
mm,
develop as well, and that's something else that is it's not on the back burner, but it's definitely something that I'm personally interested in. I like the news
absolutely.
once. Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't even watch the news. I flicker through a bit of news on my phone. And the reason for me is it's usually so depressing and so unreliable. And that's the crucial thing. The same with social media. Social media is great for information, but how much of it can you trust? We've gone to a lot of trouble to make sure that our sources, information, are as reliable as you can get. So we're not, unlike Facebook's, we're having a good go at Facebook here, but that can get closed down at moment. You can lose your account at a moment's notice. The algorithm decides that you're doing something it doesn't like, it shuts you down and you lost everything. You've got people with fake profiles, you've got fake news on there. We don't want any of that. We just want to, in a way, what we're developing is a closed shop, in as much as you've got to be a veteran of the US, you've got to have served in the US military, armed forces, or you've got to be a service provider who's coming in to provide services to veterans and you've been vetted by us. Make sure that you're going to comply with the basic rules that we've got, our code of conduct, and that you're here to help veterans. You're going to do the right thing by them. And we've built in as well we've given feedback for people. Everybody can rate everybody else, and that's important because we want this accountability. If suddenly we find the provider isn't performing right or there's some issues, we want to know about that. And everybody's free to have their say. Everybody's going to agree all the time, but we've got this so that everybody can have their open say. We can talk. You can share what you like. We support each other. It's one big family in effect, and we watch everybody's back.
Yeah,
Do watch everybody's
perfect.
back.
You really,
Yeah,
you really took that one for me. I appreciate it.
that's right.
It's providing security. It's providing that realm of security, and there's no other
Yeah,
organization. I've never heard of such a thing. It doesn't matter if
no,
it's DAV, foreign, veteran foreign wars. It doesn't matter. So,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
so many aspects that other companies are not touch toning upon. Yes, they might
yeah,
help with employment, they might help with housing assistance, they might help with some VA claims, but that's it. That's as
yeah,
far as you go, and then you go have your
yeah,
barbecue with them and give them you $50 a month, or
yeah. Well,
right.
they're either grant funded, and then they've got to comply with. I've been in the charity sector and non-profit sector for a long, long time, so I know the way they work. I know that they're restricted in a number of ways. So if they're not grant funded, they're privately funded. They're a business, and essentially you're talking. No disrespect to them, but you're talking about 9 to 5s, and you're talking about when they're dealing with large numbers, they haven't got the capacity to support people to the degree that they want to. What we've built is we've very carefully crafted this as business people to know that we can scale and expand to any scale we want, any scale that the members want, and we can still manage it effectively and give everybody lots of attention. That's really, really important. And yes, we've also got other features that others aren't providing. So, for example, within the groups, everybody gets access to the synopsis of one book. Nobody else is providing that. We're going to have within the we're going to be asking our members to vote on a paid membership level. There'll always be a free membership. There'll be some paid membership levels, and within those, they get access to a library with even more books, synopsis of best-selling books. You're getting a free gift as well as members. So people have probably noticed that now, and we're looking for really good quality information, things that are going to make a big difference to people's lives. We want actually want feedback on that. If somebody wants information on the subject, we can get it. And we want veterans coming forward and saying, yeah, or we've had this already. How can I help? How can I help other veterans? Brilliant.
Oh, there's plenty of those. Every
That's
day.
exactly what we've built that into this model. That's exactly what we want. We want to be encouraging our members to help other veterans and empowering them to do that and saying, yeah, this is not us running it. This is our members running it. And we're going to empower you to take on those roles and, run with these things and support each other because that's what this is about. It's completely different to anything that's out there.
It's
And I think the speed with which we've probably spent what 2 months developing this. You've spent several years thinking about this and planning to do this for the benefits, but we've probably spent what 2 months hammering out the idea of launching the bigger program you have a vision
that's
for.
between everything about 2 months and 8 days.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's crazy, really, isn't it? That the
the, the,
amount that
the
we've
the
got
rapid
done.
growth, the rapid growth isn't automatically it's and the way the everybody reacts to it is obvious that this is something that's needs to happen.
Yeah,
It's going to be a correction in the society. So business is created,
yeah,
right? Or an
yeah, yeah,
institution or anything to fix a problem in society because somebody sees
mm,
this problem. And
yeah, yeah.
it either flops or it keeps going, right?
And it's
It
going to
says
keep going. There's no question about that.
right.
Yeah,
So if everyone's saying, "Hey, I'm interested, I'm interested, I'm interested," sign me up, sign me up, sign me up. It's
mm,
obvious that hey, this is solving a problem and a need in society. So
yeah,
it's hands down going to be just
yeah,
phenomenal. I love it.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
you know I can't wait until we get some real nice feedback from the community to say, hey, I would love
yeah.
this idea. Just tell us.
Mm,
Maybe we implement it.
absolutely. We can't think of everything. We won't think of everything. we'd take it on, and if we can do it, we can do it. So yeah, we've thought of lots of things. We've created walls of fame, and that was important. We're going to be bringing in somebody to take religious services. That's something else that's important. We've got in mind as soon as we can to bring people in for the housing. That's a really important. We purposely did a survey very early on to find out what veterans need. And based on that survey, we've extended some of the services and brought in new things and said, right, that, which is the most important priority and what can we get in there? And all this is founded on us really sitting down and hammering out what we thought people needed, but with a clear intention that this is just the beginning. As soon as our members come in and say, yeah, we think collectively that you've missed something, or there's something that you need, right, brilliant, let's get it, let's make it happen. What will it take?
Yeah.
We'll make it happen. Yeah, yeah,
So there's something very unique that, again, everything is voted upon. So let's say we have three
yes,
creative ideas, right? And we say,
yes,
hey, there's enough funding that's made from the community. So people buy Hundo clothing, right? Through the Hundo
yeah,
shop. And all
yeah,
those funds go back into the community, right?
exactly.
So,
Yeah,
and all the profit margins. It's,
yeah,
again, this is nothing like anything that's ever been created before.
no, no,
So, uh, all those funds, everyone gets to vote. Hey, we have these three programs that the community has said they want. And based
mm,
on the surveys and systems and the
yep,
polls, okay,
mm,
which one do you guys want to implement? And this is
yeah,
what the budget is for. We got that budget for that. So literally,
yeah,
the community is driven not
mm,
by corporate headquarters or the Senate
exactly.
or anybody.
Yeah,
It's literally
yeah,
driven by what the people want. And
yep.
it's I just love the concept of how this all came together, and I don't know how we created this. I don't know,
We did evolve, did evolve, and I think one of
yeah,
the things was that we talked about. There's going to be people who we've had one already offer that's of an honourable veteran who knows he's coming to the end of his life, sadly, who's very kindly said, "I want to donate everything I own to Hondo." And one of the first things we said, well, we need a wall of honour. People like that, we need a wall of honour, and we need to recognise that that goes up permanently. So that was early on. Oh, we were talking about as we build membership and the successes, there's going to be plenty of opportunities for corporates and members of the public to donate. We're not actively seeking that, not at this stage, certainly not at this stage. We want to make sure everything's tight and solid. The money we generate in house, yes, there's costs in running this whole system, and we've self-funded this up to this stage. That's a large part of the reason why we've got some paid memberships above the free membership. We've got paid membership because that will help cover running costs. We're going to need a bigger, faster server, for example, which is certainly not cheap because the bigger we get, the more that costs. We're keeping our costs as tight as possible, as really tight as possible, because we want the maximum amount of money going straight back into veterans and things like you say, the clothing and accessories, all of those, that's all going back into veterans, and all our members vote on how it's spent. And there's so many options. I think people are quite excited. Wow, we get to all vote on how this gets spent. Yeah, yeah, and you get to pitch ideas on that could be voted on. Just as you'll get the opportunity to pitch designs in for clothing ranges and accessories, and that's in there. So many ways our members can get involved and actually give this life and give it more direction as well, and make it better and better and better for other veterans that are in need.
and we're not just
Something
talking
with
about
Mammoth.
this generation, that we're not talking about just
Uh,
this literally this demographic or this
mm,
next 10 years. We're talking about the next centuries of
yes,
change,
yeah, yeah,
rewriting that 243 years of of
Yeah.
military conflict in the United States, and that's just the
Yeah.
United States. Now we're talking global when we get to the global hemisphere. So
Yeah.
this is gonna literally, I've lived in Europe as well, and I know
Yeah.
how badly, the say for example, the Dutch soldier is treated. They're literally
Mm.
treated like a slave, and then they get
Yeah.
thrown out. Thanks for your service. Here's a business card and a cup of coffee
Mm.
on the door out. That is
Yeah.
it. Doesn't matter if you got an
Yeah.
injury, this and that. That it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I've
Yeah.
hands down seen it. It takes
Yeah.
years to get a pension or anything. It's just it's a totally. So we got a big agenda. We got a huge
Yeah.
agenda
Yeah.
that we're trying to solve, not just for the United States, but globally as well, for all our
Yeah.
NATO allies
Yeah.
and everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
And one of the ways we plan on growing that is growing and empowering in-house members. So part of
Nice.
the vision, because I know about lots of different business models that are possible, and one of them is social enterprises and non-profits, and people want to set that up or want to do voluntary work. They want to set up an offshoot or that specialises in a particular field. Just picking one at random, for example, homeless veterans. If a group of people want to set something up, we will empower them to do that. We'll give them the skills and the training. And you and I have talked about this a lot. Part of our legacy is that we want to train not just apprentices, but officers within Hundo. We want to train our veterans up, take on roles, and we want to train up our legacy. This, as you said, is centuries to come. This is what we're building. We build that by not just controlling ourselves, but by empowering our members to carry this on for years and years and years to come. This is a massive, massive undertaking. It's undertake. There's what 18.5 million veterans in the US alone. It's
Yep.
a
Yeah.
huge, huge, huge number. We're not even a little pinprick into those numbers so far, but because we're aware of that, we factored that into the business model. We factored in, we know what we're taking on. We know that we can scale into making an impact and spreading that and spreading it out so that it doesn't lose its quality. And
Exactly. Never, ever,
the
ever give up
yeah,
quality. A lot of people, they
quality
start
is
bringing.
very important. Yeah. And one of the things that I'm sure some members will be wanting to ask, because we want them to ask, we want everybody to ask questions. And one of the things that we're not going to allow is we're not going to allow some government agency to swoop in and take over Hondo. That's not going to happen. This is run by veterans for veterans with external agencies and support and companies like myself coming in, but it is veteran run and it always will be. And that's the important thing. But we're not just creating an exclusive group. We want veterans to have a new role in society where they put it at the most simple level. They've served in active duty to protect society. When they become a veteran, they can take on a new role in society, supporting society. And even the American president has talked about the vital importance, the vital role of veterans providing that service as protecting society. We're just taking it to a whole new level. Our vision is to take it to a whole new level. And for our members to say, yeah, this is how we would like to do that. And we've spoken to many veterans already, and they're just like, yeah, yeah, let me at it. Let me at it. Where do I sign up? I mean, we were talking to somebody the other day, and he's joined us, and he's a very, very successful coach with many years of experience. He's joined. We've offered him the chance to do a webinar, and he nearly bit my hand off at the chance, and says, "Yeah, I want to tell my story. I want to help people. I want to tell people what I've been through and I'm going through now. And yeah, if that helps other vets, yeah, where can I sign up? where and when can I start? This is exactly what we want. This is exactly what we want. Yeah, we
Amen.
want people taking it off us and running with it, running with the things that we've set up and established for everybody, and asking no question is silly. No question is silly or off limits. If they've got questions, ask them. Don't be afraid, because we're here. Nothing, just contact us anytime. We're here. We'll answer anything. Doesn't matter how silly it is. Not going to easily take offence. just
I,
it all
it's
stays in
fantastic.
house. Yeah,
So on top of that, there is a creative program that we're working. There's a lot of programs we're working at once.
yeah,
It's very difficult to make sure everything's polished on top of that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
and a learning system or a course system, right? On top of
yeah,
the veteran teaching veteran Wikipedia type program, where if I'm a
yeah,
plumber, I could write up an article on how to do plumbing or this and that, and post it up to the
yeah,
blog post for the member
yeah.
blog post. There's also the educational, again, it's for self-development. This is one of the
Mm,
key aspects of Hundo is self-development, always learning to improve yourself. And if we don't have it,
yeah,
somebody will create it, sure. So
yeah, yeah,
this being a foundation of an educational based institution, and according to taxes as well, that's also
yeah.
important, is that
Yes.
we have those kind of foundational aspects.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the educational system, right, it would
Mm,
be
mm,
able to cultivate um, different different learning values. So
mm, mm.
there's a course system that we're going to implement that is going to be free value, and of course the
Yeah,
paid one. And the paid one again would be VIP days, as you call it,
yeah,
where you
yeah,
spend
yeah,
8 hours a day, give or take, 6
yeah.
hours or whatever is required to
Mm,
educate those individuals. But this is another area that we're
yeah,
branching into of the course
yeah,
curriculum.
yeah. We're
For
always going to have the free services. Everybody's going to get their needs met, but there's going to be paid services where people can go into more depth. Those paid services are going to be affordable for veterans, and yeah, as much as possible, we're going to pour that back in. And yes, it's members may vote and say, well, yeah, there are some cases where people with financial difficulty, severe financial difficulties, would like to put a little bit of that aside. That's an option. People may want to vote on that. We don't mind. This is for us. It's all about how much value can we give? How much can we meet needs? How much can we provide the things that people are not getting now and desperately need? And we
and
we know a
that's
lot of
huge.
those from the surveys we put out and the research that we've done, which has been extensive. Yeah, we know. We're looking forward to this. Really looking forward to
Yeah, that's exactly the point. Is you hit it. Is there's so much value here, Mr. Finch,
this. Mm,
that
mm.
that doesn't exist anywhere else. There is
No,
literally there's going to be a classified ad system run by
yeah,
veterans. There's going to be on top of that. There's going to be the educational system run by veterans. There's going to
yeah,
be the group system. There's so many different levels of
yeah,
things going on here. You're talking the
mm,
most inclusive group that ever existed.
mm,
Uh,
yeah,
I and it's coming alive. It's not even
yeah.
just an idea. It's like it's
It's
evolving.
happening.
Every stage is evolving. You got the security
Yeah,
aspect. You have the aspect of
yeah,
funds. You have the aspect to
yeah,
housing, and it's just
yeah.
it's just amazing. It's hands
One of
down.
one of the things we talked about early on is already happening. So just in a few weeks into this, it's already happening. We knew that there'll be members with tremendous skills. You're not getting a chance to use those skills. Well, this is a place you can share those with support other veterans. The amount of knowledge that's going to be within Hondo is phenomenal. You start sharing that out and we're supporting each other, and you know people people can come in with needs and they can go, well, I can see on this network there's so many options, and everybody's got learning styles and learning abilities, and the provision, the service is all going to be there. There's so many options to choose from, and we're gonna have um, free webinars for our free membership. We're going to have webinars for more detailed ones for the paid membership. We're going to be having every 3 months on the paid membership, which we're looking at, and that's where we're going to bring in top experts in different fields who are going to come in and talk to veterans on subjects and deliver value. I attend many seminars. We'll make sure that these are really good quality ones, and these are very much geared towards what people need. It's massive,
I
absolutely
literally,
massive.
I literally go to bed excited to go to bed just so I can wake up in the morning and come back to work.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
is the environment I've always wanted. And on
yeah,
top of that, if the customer or the member is doing that as well, that's a perfect
yeah,
environment. That's a happy
yeah.
home, So
Exactly. But this is what I've been doing in my own coaching business. Is I have this thing that it's called alignment. Are you in alignment with your business? And up to 75% of entrepreneurs are not in alignment with their business. And one of the ways you can tell is if you go to bed at night and you're thinking positively and you're excited about your business, and you wake up in the morning, you're excited, and you're very clear on what you're doing and why you're doing it. Those are some of the indicators of being in alignment with your business and being driven. One of my big things about entrepreneurship is that the way it's taught, and I say taught rather than coached because it's one of my bugbears. People calling themselves coaches, but they don't really know what the true definition of a coach. I won't get into that in a moment. But it's a business model first, and you tack on. I've heard this so many times. You tack on an element of mindset, which drives me up the wall. People don't need to be patronized by saying they need lessons in mindset. No, and they tack on these elements of thinking about your personality, but they're little small modules in a whole program that's fundamentally about building the business. I see that I chuck that all out the window. I start with the person, your values. What do you stand for? What do you believe in life? What are you good at? All these things that make you you and make you excited and make your life what you want it to be. And we build the business out of that. Now it's a totally different business. Now it's a
that's
business
cool.
where you know exactly where you're going, exactly
So
how you treat customers, and exactly how you run it, and staying focused and 101 other things. And that's
right.
what
I
we're
think
doing.
I think I think the terminology is called strategic visionary leadership. It's a
Absolutely.
type.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Strategic
Yeah. Yeah.
visionary.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
nail on the
Yeah.
head, John?
That's
So
nail on the
there is
head. Yeah.
okay. So strategic visionary leadership development is something that is completely not taught. It's about seeing a
Yeah.
vision and how to get there. What is your
Yeah.
vision? What is your problem you're solving, and how to get there? So that's a beautiful segment that you're going to be wanting to teach these veterans, and I think it's
Absolutely.
self-teaching. I think it's
Yeah.
fantastic. So
Yeah. Well, we talked about this before. I've I've got a number of years yet before I retire. I'm not going to retire fully. I'm going to carry on supporting Hundo long after I retire, but I've still got plenty of years to go yet. But I literally want to. I've had all of these years in business and entrepreneurship and the many things I've done, and I've been in coaching since the early 1990s. I was one of the first people ever to qualify to assess other coaches against the brand new national standards for coaching across any discipline. I've got all of this in here. I want to dump all of what's in here and pass that on. I want to pass it on into this community and coach people to take that on and make it their own and own it and then pass it on to the next generation. And if everybody does that, we're going to change the world. We're going to change the world. Not everybody wants to share everything, but however much you share and you pass it on to the next generation, this massive network that we're building is about passing it on, helping each other, and providing this support network that just grows exponentially. That's
on
a big
onto
part
the
of what we're doing.
onto the elite people of every society within
Yes.
the
Yeah.
North American
yeah,
Treaty Organization countries.
yeah,
So we're
yeah,
passing it on to the best of the best that the countries have to offer because there's
yeah,
uh, it's extremely difficult to get into the military. You can't have any drug history, you
oh
can't have
yeah,
any arrest history,
yeah,
you can't have
yeah,
any felonies. You can't. You're the best of the best of society. You can't. You have to have
yeah,
a higher
yeah,
education than everybody. Blah blah blah, et
yeah,
cetera, et cetera. You have to be
yeah,
physically fit. You can't have any deformities. You can't have any allergies. You
yeah,
can't have this. You can't have
yeah,
that. Right.
yeah,
So you're the super soldiers of the society at the time,
yeah, yeah,
and we're passing that on to the what I call the 1%. The
yeah,
1% of societies that actually volunteer to serve.
yeah.
So
But the flip side of that is that those people who are the 1% society have come out having given, and their sacrifice has meant that an awful lot have got disabilities. An awful lot are on drugs to cope with the mental and physical disabilities that they're having. And that's the price they've had to pay. That's the price they paid for the country. And we're taking the attitude of you're not you're not down because of your sacrifices. We're going to help build you back up again. We're going to give you your pride back again. We're going to work within your abilities and we're going to build you back up again. And the whole community is going to build you back up again. And we're going to be picking the best people to support that everybody else. So nobody, it's one of our core principles. Nobody gets left behind. And we've put that front and center on there. Nobody gets left behind. So nobody should feel that like, well, okay, I did my time and I was perfect when I went in and I came out. So I've dropped the ball or maybe I've kicked it out the field. But you're not going to get left behind because of that. You're still going to be absolutely supported by the community, no matter what you've done. So one of the businesses I ran years and years ago was working with unemployed people, and I took the unemployable and gave them work experience on landscaping. And after they'd done their work experience, I then employed them. And the very first person I employed was an ex-offender, and he had his it's called a DRB, which is it's a police check, and it was massive great sheets of stuff. And he told me he'd done armed robbery and prison riots and all of that stuff. You know what the first thing he said to me was? He says, "I've taken so much from society," and he says, "I've done so much wrong. I just want to give back now, and I just want to put it right." So I gave him the opportunity, and he didn't let me down. So he stayed, and he got a job, and he stayed with me for the rest of the time I ran that. And that I love that. I'm so proud of having done that and proud of taking people on that were unemployable. Literally, I mean, there was one lady I had
it
who had
gives you a life experience that very few people have. And
yes. There was a
uh,
lady I had she came to me. She got severe arthritis, really really bad arthritis, and the hands were shaking and everything. She couldn't get a job. She was scrap heap basically, and I just treated her differently. And I took her on. I gave her work experience. In the end, I employed her. When I had to close the business down, she got a job with Tesco's, one of the major supermarkets, because the way I treated her and the experience she got, she was taken on. She got a job. She's been there ever since. This is somebody who was totally unemployable, who then got a job and got a life, and he's very happy ever since doing that. And that's what we want to do. We want to give people back that pride and whatever they're at, whatever their abilities are, they've got something more to offer society. They've protected society during active duty and they've made sacrifices. And that's probably very often has been mental and physical sacrifices. They don't deserve to be on the scrap heap for that. They deserve to be given a new place, a new life, a new mission.
well,
And
that's Hundo. That's our job. That's our job to
exactly,
fix this societal
exactly.
problem. So,
Yes, we're
I
going to
mean,
do it.
we could probably talk for another 4 hours, but
Oh,
we'll
I think
call
we
this.
could. I think we could, but we
You
should
want to
cut
call
this
this?
short.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
should
we'll
cut this meeting. I think.
cut this one off, and yeah, we'll leave it at that, and just say welcome to our new members. Just dip in, explore, ask lots of questions, and get involved. And
and share and become an affiliate and make sure
yeah,
you what do they call it? That hit that like button, right?
exactly. Bring more in, and yeah, they now know what our mission is, and what their mission is. They've joined. So it's now time to stand straight, stand proud, and do the country proud, and do their service proud.
God bless
Stick
you,
with the
Mr.
program.
Finch, and thank you for your service to the veteran community. And
Oh, more than welcome. I thank them thank you all for your service. It's well deserved. Well deserved. It's our pride that's and our pleasure to do this for them. Our pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
all right, thank you,
Excellent.
Mr.
We'll
Finch.
sign off. Sign off.
All right.